Just been to the fridge to grab a soda. No kangaroo meat there. Have you tried kangaroo meat in Australia? Welcome, guys. I love kangaroo. I got a really funny story for you. Hang on now. I'll give you a bit of background. I'll give you this really, really funny story about what happened to me in Vietnam about kangaroo meat. So, kangaroo meat. Let me tell you the background. So, President Thailand, the president of Vietnam, has recently visited Australia and had a meeting with Anthony Albanese, and there's been a number of signings and agreements done. Now, Vietnam has an intake of about $2.6 billion a year in Australian agricultural products. It's rather significant. And with the changing world economy, with the changing landscape of these different countries, especially in Asia, Vietnam is becoming more and more important to Australia, as is Australia to Vietnam, because of the proximity, the availability of resources that Vietnam doesn't have, and there are so many things there. But one of the agreements that they signed was that as of literally 2026, sometime this year, Vietnam will start importing kangaroo and deer meat. Now, they already have a little bit of a deer industry, thịt nai they call it, or deer meat in Vietnam. So that's going to be extended. But kangaroo, so firstly, I've eaten kangaroo a few times. It is good. It is very, very difficult to eat, to cook, and it needs to be prepared by a skilled chef. It's one of those things like, you know that story of that fish in Japan where you need to be certified just to be able to cut and cook the fish because it can kill you. Now, kangaroo can't kill you, but really you need some really good training to be able to cook and prepare kangaroo properly. Otherwise, it's like trying to eat a bloody old shoe, you know. It's really, really tough, but it is good. It's really high in protein. It's really, really healthy. If you ate nothing but kangaroo, you would be one healthy bugger. So I'm excited because kangaroo is coming to Vietnam, and I certainly will be one that will go out of my way to attend a restaurant wherever I can get one to enjoy some kangaroo because it is really good. The story, this is really funny. All right, so as you know, I've been in Vietnam for about 13 years. Going back to 2013, I first moved here. It wasn't long after I moved here that my girlfriend at the time, Phil, she took me to a restaurant. Now, I remember where this restaurant is, and I don't know if it's still there or not. But on the menu, they had kangaroo. At the time, we didn't buy it. So that was my first trigger to go, oh, okay, well, there must be a few, naively, there must be a few places around town that has kangaroo. And so I let it go, and years went past, probably about 3 or 4 years went past. And I was living up near the airport, and I was working in District 4. So basically I had to cross the city from the north to the south to do a class and then come back. And I'd come back about 8 o'clock at night. And as I drove up Wing Van Choi every day to go back home, which is the main road from the city to the airport, I'd see this sign as I went past, and it was in Vietnamese. But what it would say, it said, we've got all different types of meat. I can't remember it, crocodile, pork, lamb, and kangaroo. And I'm thinking, all right, well, I've eaten crocodile before. I love lamb. It's one of my favourite meats to have. Very, very rare to get it here, but you can buy it in the supermarket frozen because the people of the Muslim faith don't eat pork and they replace it with lamb, but it is a little bit expensive. Anyway, so kangaroo, I thought, kangaroo, let's go. I'm going to try that one night. Anyway, months went on, and it was raining. I was riding home and it started raining. I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to go home, get wet, push on, drive the last 2 kilometres, get wet, have a shower when I get home, or can I pull in here and try that kangaroo? So, I go down the laneway, park the bike, really, really small restaurant. seriously, must have only had a maximum of probably 15 or 16 seats. This kid comes up to me and gives me a menu. Everything's in Vietnamese. It's a Vietnamese restaurant. Maybe never seen a foreigner in its life. It's deep in a Vietnamese area. And this guy gives me the menu. And by this time, I could read Vietnamese enough to be able to order from a menu, ask basic questions. Anyway, so I'll go some lamb. So I said, mate, I asked him a few questions. This lamb here, what sauces it got, etc. I said, I'll have the barbecue lamb. I said, also, mister, you've got the kangaroo. And I'll say this all in English, but the whole story happened in Vietnamese. I said, mate, you've got some kangaroo here. You've got kangaroo in, I don't know what it was, Szechuan sauce or something. And he went, yeah. I said, can I have one of those? And he says to me, what country are you from? So, from Australia. He said, sorry, no kangaroo. What they were doing, they were getting either buffalo, deer, or pork, and they were chemically changing it so it didn't taste like that meat, bashing the shit out of it, and then selling it as kangaroo. And because I was from Australia, no. He said, you're going to know the difference, mate. No kangaroo for you. Kangaroo was not on the menu tonight. So I didn't eat the kangaroo, which wasn't ever the kangaroo, of course. And it just made me think, back in those days, they would represent anything as basically anything. And they still do it a bit today. There are some examples where pork is being used as beef for the same thing. What they do is they throw some chemicals on it, they give it a bit of a beating, they change its flavour a little bit, and they say it's beef, but it's actually pork. It happens everywhere. This poor kid, he looked at me and he had the biggest fear on his face. He goes, where are you from? I said, I'm from Australia. No kangaroo. So funny. I'll never forget that story. Good news though, that probably before Christmas 2026, you should be able to buy either fresh kangaroo in the meat markets, which I would suggest that would be the more international ones of Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi and Da Nang, Vung Tau and the like. And I would also highly suspect that some of the bigger restaurants will start having kangaroo as a delicacy on their menu, which is really, really good. I'll be trying it. All right, guys, soda time. I do wish Schweppes would bloody sponsor me. Schweppes, if you're into sponsoring people, come and sponsor me because I drink about bloody 60 of these a month. So I'm Ray, An Aussie in Vietnam. See you soon. Bye-bye.